Rat Style Review. Today we're here with Daniel Oh man, I'm going to have to ask you again. How do you pronounce that?
Brennare.
Brennare. All right. From the band Lake of Tears. And we were just discussing, I had to restart this video, so we were talking just a little bit before, but I was just letting Daniel know how I got into Lake of Tears, and a friend of mine gave me a mixtape, and I heard Devil's Diner, blew me away, and I had to get all the Lake of Tears albums I could find. And when I was going, backwards, because I guess when I found about you guys, I'm trying to think what album was out. I think it was Forever Autumn. So I was a little behind. But so I had to go backwards and listen to the other albums, and I noticed the first album was more of a death metal type thing.
Yes, and yes, death metal, or I think like metal from the late 80s, beginning of the 90s there. I guess we were old enough to realize music in some way, I guess. But actually, that period in time and that kind of music was what triggered me and a couple of my friends to start to play our own music. So I think you can say that's my entrance into the music making world. So. Yeah, and even before the first record, when there was a lot of more death metal, or you can say. So for the record, we have already, taken off some of the most death metal parts in the music. But of course, you can still hear traces from our beginnings.
Yeah, of course. And actually just reminded me about the stuff before the first album. You just released or re-released some demos not too long ago, a couple months back.
Yeah.
On vinyl.
Yeah. We only did one demo tape back in '93, and there was this guy, he wanted to do it, and I thought, why not? It was just a small circulation. I think it was 100 copies or something, 150 or...
Okay. Good. Yeah, I was lucky enough to get one, so I was very excited to get it. Yeah. Now, did you think that? Well, because your discography is basically you never sound the same in any album. Every album is completely different, which I really like a lot because a lot of bands don't do that. A lot of bands stick to their thing, and that's what they do. But I like how you explore on each album. Did you have that in mind to do that since the beginning, or what were you thinking of the band was going to be?
From the first notes, I don't think I was thinking about that, but I after quite fast, I think after I started to play, I still remember when I started to learn the guitar. For me, it was not so important like to know the name of the chord or to play the chord directly. For me, it was like a new world, like. I could just strum the same note and feel that it was raining outside. So the perspective for me was never like to get into some kind of formula. It was always to explore this world, and I think it just came natural to me to do new things. And I was actually thinking about that because I get so many questions and messages about that. Why doesn't it sound like this? And oh, this is not Lake of Tears anymore. But I was thinking if someone would have said that to someone in the, let's say, the science field, that would sound quite bizarre, because if you already did something, discovered something, why would you need to rediscover it? If it's not lost, of course, but. I think for me, progression has always been important. I just haven't found the right words to describe it, I think.
Yeah, yeah, but you've definitely done that, and that's how I think bands should be. I like when bands go out and do something different, like on the Neonai album. I mean, you did all electronic drums and everything was like kind of programmed stuff in there, and that was completely different. You know.
Yeah. But it could have been better done, of course. If I would have done it today, my knowledge is much higher within those fields today than it was back then. But
Right, yeah.
it had its time.
I'm sure the technology was still fairly new too, as well, when you did that.
Yeah,
Right?
and that was my first. I remember I bought a MacBook, and just to be able to do that record, my first real deep dive into the digital recording on my own, so to say.
Yeah. Now, you were on the Black Mark record label, and obviously you left that label, and then that's when the Neonite come out. Is that, I guess, did the band like break up or something because the Black Mark thing? Was there like problems with that?
Yeah, I can't really remember an exact reason today, but I know that there was a lot of personal shit happening in both for me and I know for Johan and maybe for Michael also. But I think the main thing here, if I remember correctly, was that we really felt that the band could become something in those days because we had a really good momentum going there, I think. But the record company, they just denied us any kind of tour support. And I think that's how it started, because we got some really good offers with some bigger bands in those times to go with them on quite a few tours, but there was no and no again and no again, and I think that was the thing that made us put the things on ice, on hold for a while, at least back then.
Yeah.
And then the Neon Eye was as I said, I think I could have done that record better if I would have put more effort into it. It was like a mixture between doing the final record for the Black Mark contract and doing some music that meant something. I mean, it was a mixture of those, and yeah.
Do you think you ever maybe re-recorded or anything sometime?
Of course, I've thought about re-recording some older stuff, but I don't really think that would be the right thing to do. But I'm actually working on some orchestral stuff, and I think I will include some of the old Lake of Tears songs in that form. So maybe one will come up there.
Oh, that's cool. Are you gonna? Is it just gonna be orchestral stuff, or is it gonna be mixed with like band?
I don't know for sure yet. I think so far I've only done a couple of songs. I've only been doing it for 1.5 years or something since I got interested into this world, and so far it's mostly orchestral stuff, but also some synthetic sounds for like tuned frequencies to give certain emotions, but not like guitars and vocals and stuff yet.
Yeah.
So have to see about that.
Oh, that'd be cool. Very interesting. You're always doing something new, so that's why it really draws me to your band. You know.
I felt like I've been doing nothing for 10 years, so I don't know if I.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, every album that comes out, it seems like there's a long waiting period till the next one. Why is that? Because
I'm a very slow songwriter, I think. That's the main thing behind it.
Yeah.
And it's always so fun to I don't know if it's fun actually. I always get to hear this about the comeback album. It's always a new comeback album. So, like a comeback band.
But you've never left, so it's...
No, I never did leave, so.
That's funny. You had Magnus was in the band for a while, then he finally became a member, like an official member, and then I guess did he leave again, or what happened with that?
He left, and it was actually quite hard to get in touch with him again. He went to his personal life totally, you can say. He's I don't know if he's like a professor in linguistics and have some kind of company doing stuff. So it's quite an inspiring world to be in, I guess.
Yeah.
For him.
Yeah. So actually, you know what? I only know two. Well, now I know three people who know who Lake of Tears is. Oh. The guy who introduced me to you guys, and then I actually have a friend who lives in Sweden. I talk to him every now and then, and I told him I was interviewing you, and I said, let me know if you want to ask him something. So he sent me a thing here to ask you. Actually,
Yeah.
two things. He wanted to know where all the older band members went. He knows that Johan, the drummer, had a good reason to leave. He thinks he had something to do with having a child, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he has 3 in total.
Oh, wow. And the bass player, Michael, where did he go?
Actually, he lives like 200-300 meters in that direction. So he lives really close to me. So we meet up quite often, I must say, and talk about stuff.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
But no one of them is playing and doing any music or playing any music.
Oh, wow. How come? Are they just done with it, or?
I don't know. You really have to ask them. But I think it was always, I don't know if problem is the right word, but I still remember from the beginning when I was quite angry with the other ones because they never wrote anything, not even a single riff, and I thought, at least I think so now when I look back upon 30 years of playing in a band, or 25 in some of those cases, then it still amazes me a bit to realize that they actually didn't write any music, not a single riff.
Wow.
I mean, that's yeah. So I think it was perhaps not so natural for them to continue on playing music. Maybe they will someday if they find a new band or something. But
yeah. Well, that's a shame. But that's what happens when you're in bands.
Yeah. Everybody has you have to find your own role, your own part in these dynamics.
Right, yeah. And you're from, he says, I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, Boris?
Borås.
I'm close. And he's been there a few times. And he says he experienced that there is something rainy and melancholic about the city. Is that somehow an inspiration to your music?
Maybe. Borås, I think it has been... for several years, the most rainy town in Sweden, or the second most rainy one. So it rains quite a lot here, and I'm sure it on some subconscious level that it has to do with the music and emotions. But I think maybe then if we go to the nature, it maybe has more to do with Sweden being a cold country, like snow and stuff. And I also like to think that at least sometimes that I was born in January. And that this was my first encounter with the world, the dark, cold Sweden on a January day or night. So I guess when you enter a new room through a door, everything that you will learn inside that room will always somehow be compared to how it felt when you entered. So maybe it has the entrance into the world. Maybe it's already starting there.
Yeah. When's your birthday?
24th of January, so it was
very recently.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Now, my other friend, they kind of had a similar question. And actually, this is a favorite album of all of ours, and I'm sure you get this a lot. Forever Autumn. Does that seem to be like the album that everybody seems to love?
Not everybody, but I think if I look at a lot of numbers today from streamings and YouTube and stuff, I think that's our most well-known, I think, perhaps most liked. But it's totally different. Some people can't stand it, and others really like it.
Yeah, it's a total, like when you're going from the heaviest stuff from the albums before, and then that I can understand it because it's a lot slower, but it's cool. It's more like a Pink Floyd-ish type sound to that album in a way. And I'm not a huge Pink Floyd fan, but I love Forever Autumn. It just the way that album sounds, the way he did it was awesome. And actually, my other friend, he wants to know what was the mindset when you wrote that album.
If I think back upon it, I think it was two different kind of mindset, because I think I really can't remember exactly, but I think autumn was of course a subject, autumn and rain that was inside that record. But I think somewhere I don't know if it was, it maybe started during the recordings where my own relationship actually like a first real love kind of thing broke up. So the second part of that recording was a really hard to do in that way. So then it perhaps got this autumn thing got mixed up with this relationship breaking up kind of thing also. And I think they got together in some way.
Do you remember, he wants to also know, because he's a guitar player, do you know what equipment you used for that album?
Not all, but I still have my Laney that I have used for many years, a Laney amp, and I think it was a Gibson SG for the guitar back then, if I remember correctly.
Very cool. So yeah, those are favorites. I know a lot of. I know I'm a favorite. It's one of my favorite albums, and definitely one of their favorite albums. Trying to think what else. Oh, Ill Will.
Yeah.
On that album, you kind of went back to almost the beginnings of Lake of Tears. Is a mix of sound from the earlier albums. What was the reason for doing that?
I think the base for Ill Will, the story-wise, was actually the same base as it is for Ominus. It has with my illness to do, but then it was more about, I think, the illness and the shocking, when you get the doctor comes in and get you. It was more like a shock thing, and also and some kind of, for me, some getting back to life things. I had really very much energy back then. I really felt like screaming, and we always liked punk in the band also. So we went perhaps consciously into that direction. But I don't know if I agree that we went back to the roots.
Well, you added more like double bass, because you haven't did double bass in like years on albums, and you added it back on this album. So that's what kind of reminds me of some of the older stuff.
Maybe you can say it like that. Yeah.
It was actually a shock to me when I heard it. I'm like, oh my god, what a huge change here. And it was cool. I liked it. I liked it a lot. And what was the other album? Another one. When you, I guess, one of your next big comebacks, I guess, when you joined Noise Records with Black Brick Road.
Yeah.
This is probably my second favorite album.
Okay.
I love the way the production is, the mix of the album, the instruments used on the album, just the whole thing just sounds good. Your vocals are great on this album, just everything. What was the mindset on recording that album?
This was some kind of new start. So I think this came out, I think, within a year of the Neon Eye ones. So I already started to write these songs when I did Neon Eye, actually, some of them. And simply like started over in the band, or let's say we got to get back together as a gang. That's maybe more correct. So there was quite automatically some kind of momentum, and we were in a quite good spot there, I think. Yeah. But I think you can already see on the darker cover that of course Forever Autumn was not black but dark also, the decline into more depressive territory or
yes.
Whatever. But that's really hard to say, because now when I look back upon things, I of course have some constructions made in my head to make sense out of things, and it may have not been felt like that of course when we did it, but that's how I can feel that it is now. Something happened around that period, both this positive thing that we got together as a band, but there was also something that was driving at least me deeper down somewhere.
Yeah. Now you mentioned you're into punk music and stuff. What sort of bands are you into?
Oh, I'm listening to everything nowadays, I think. And I really enjoy this more orchestral music nowadays. But I still my bass that I listen to most often is still rock and metal, I think, by far. Mm-hmm. But I think I must say that I prefer the bands from back in time. There are of course some new stuff that comes out, but it's much too much to be able to listen to it all, and I also I must say, and I guess that's natural, so I've gotten a bit tired of hearing the same thing over and over again, because that was never like my thing to get so stuck into something that I will always be there. I mean, I got stuck into the emotion and this world, this parallel world where you could be something else than an ordinary person. Everybody around here is playing soccer. You know, I was never really interested in soccer, so I felt outside already then.
Well, what were you listening to when you started Lake of Tears? Do you remember?
A lot of the metal stuff. I remember when I started, I had a friend's older brother who played like Scorpions and Kiss right early in my life, and then of course Metallica came in the 80s there, and then all this that followed. I think right when we started, it was a lot of, I don't know, Benediction is a name that comes up, and if I can remember all the death metal bands that were formed back then. And I think, let's say like a band like Dismember, they've done some amazing songs. But I think this amazingness that they did, they somehow painted the whole universe for many bands to come. So many of the bands that have followed have not been able to paint their own universe. They are still just trying to fit into this already painted universe. So.
Right, yeah. And what's some of the newer stuff that you're into? I mean, Ghost is from where you are. What do you think of Ghost? Are you into
I think it's quite good. But I think they have become such a band that people doesn't really want to say that they like them anymore. They probably become too commercial. No, but I think Ghost has find something in there and done it in a really good way, I must say. What other bands am I listening to? I don't know. I don't remember.
What was the last thing you listened to? Do you remember?
The last thing I listened to, it was a Italian composer called Scelzi, a really amazing guy. When I was reading a little bit background on him, I just heard it a couple of weeks ago, and I was reading background, and it all just made a lot of sense for me, because he's talking about something, finding another meaning in music, and just inside this short text I was reading about him, there was also mention of old Pythagoras and Nikola Tesla we had inside there, and for me it made really big sense, if I put it like that, because I don't know how to describe it. Art music is not maybe the correct term, but I think to find a deeper meaning in music is a name for my kind of progression, and I think for a lot of other people also. It's really hard to put a name onto it, but I think that's quite a good term to use.
Yeah. What got you into that? Did all of a sudden you just hear something and it clicked with you? Like getting into orchestra type stuff?
Yeah, actually, I'm having quite a hard time. You can ask all my friends, and they will immediately tell you that I'm one of those that almost always say something negative about a lot of new stuff. I mean, not that I hate it, but that was okay, I heard that before, or something like that. So I'm a bit skeptical. So it's not really usual for me to click directly with new stuff, but this was something. I could hear it immediately because it's detuning on a micro level different instruments to give certain emotions, and I really enjoy that. It's not for everybody, of course, but
yeah. It's hard for me to get into it, but then when you hear bands add it to their music, you know, that's what really got me into. I like that more, you know. I like it when it's like Nightwish or something like that, you know. I like that type of orchestral with the heavy music. One thing I wanted to ask, we're gonna go into the new album, so I'm looking at the pictures and stuff, and there's a picture of you with a dog. Whose dog is that? Is that yours?
That's my Ivan. So he's mine.
And you had a big long beard.
Yeah.
I've never seen you pictures with beard. You're always pretty clean shaven. I'm like, wow.
No, I had this. I think it was like a playoff idea, but the record took quite a long time to do. So it got
no time to shave in between the recordings.
No, I didn't want to shave in this process, but I did shave now, and I must say it was a terrible thing because. It was really hurtful for several days after I shaved the beard, but it's starting to back out again. So
After you shaved it hurt?
yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Usually it hurts usually when it grows and it gets to that certain point where it feels like, you got somebody grabbing onto it.
Yeah, yeah, but I think I didn't shave it like totally clean. It was like a millimeter or something. And I also think one night that I was sleeping with the beard going onto my chest because I woke up and that was a hell of a pain. I couldn't really imagine that I would be in such agony for almost 3 days because of the shaving the beard.
Did you hate the beard? I tried to grow one and I was like, nah, it's just too much work.
No, I actually like the beard. I like but I don't care too much, actually. It's the same thing with my hair. I don't cut it because I don't really care.
Yeah. So the new album, the album cover, I got an email yesterday and I saw all the artwork for it.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
Very, very dark artwork on this album. Like you said earlier, every album from the Black Brick Road seems to get darker and darker with the artwork, and this is the darkest one so far. What was the idea with the crows on the front cover?
It's all this record. It's all connected, at least for me. So, I mean, the basic idea for this record was is to describe the feeling of getting a severe illness of some kind, and then also maybe perhaps even more the following depression that in my case has been there for like a decade now or something. So that's like the basic feeling for me when I was writing the songs. And the cover, I had at least that was picture for the cover. I had quite early in the process some sketches of it, and for me it's a symbol for cancer and depression.
Okay.
Those two figures, and but there is more to the story, of course. But they are a really central part of the story, and that's the two guys of the split title track or whatever you can call it.
And I was also reading too. You did come out. I mean, you talked about it a little bit before with your illness. What is it? It's a chronic leukemia, I think.
Yeah, it's a chronic form of leukemia. It's called hairy cell leukemia. So it's actually not the worst kind you can have, and there is like a 97% chance of survival during a first treatment, and it goes down a little bit, but it's not very pleasant when it comes because really? The white blood cells, I think they are getting like corrupt and since I didn't know it before the first time when I got my diagnosis, but you can really feel it, and now I have really felt it after. When it comes, it makes you feel like 90 just when you're outside walking. You have to walk 5 minutes and then rest for 15 minutes or something like that. So it really starting to drain you.
Right. Yeah. So are you doing good with it, or with the treatments and stuff like that?
Right now I've been quite good for several years here, and because I also go on regular checkups. So now it's actually it looks quite good. The doctor says that it shouldn't reduce my lifespan so much, but you can never be certain.
Right. Yeah. Now, do you worry? Because I don't know. How was the coronavirus by you, the COVID-19 thing?
Yeah, it's been all over the world. So it's been here also. But yeah, I do worry because I actually do worry every time I get a little bit cold or something, because it can be something more. But I don't really want to spend much time out with a lot of people actually in these days, even less than before.
I'm the same way. The further away I'm from people, is fine.
Yeah, that's a bit.
Yeah,
it gets like that for many people when we get older. We just don't feel that we need all these inputs. The right kind of input is more than enough.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I believe so too. Is that actually how you feel too about with the band? Because I noticed, like, who's on the band, who's doing the instruments on this album? You have a drummer and another guitar player or a bass player?
I'm doing the guitar and the vocals and all the keyboards, and then I got a friend Vesa who's playing the bass, he's kind of been with me during the whole process. I would say at least like for 8 years back. So we have had many discussions regarding the songs also. So that's always nice. And then Christian, the guy who has a studio, he's playing drums. Christian Silver. I've known him for a long time. He also did the Blacklick Road recordings and the Moose and Mushrooms recordings. So I've known him and know that he's a really good drummer. So he did the drums. Mm-hmm. And apart from that, we only had one more. It was Lars Rapp, who played the upright bass on the bonus track.
Okay, cool. I don't think I heard the bonus track. Do I have the bonus track? I do now. What is the bonus track?
In Gloom.
Yeah, I might have that one.
The ninth one.
Yes, I do have it. Yes, okay, good, I did. I like to have everything. Now, is that going to be a bonus track for like Japan, or is that going to be like on a digipack? Or
the bonus thing, because I couldn't really find another name for it. When I wrote this song, I almost from the beginning knew that this is I think it was a very good song, and everybody who heard it also thought it was a very good song, but it didn't really fit into the rest of the stories. So and I didn't want to change it to let it become something else, because this had a very easy but a nice foundation. So I wanted to have it on the record, but it's not part of the story. So I decided, let's call it the bonus track.
Yeah. All right. So what is the story about Ominus?
Yeah, the story, as I mentioned before, on the deepest level, it's from inside illness and depression. I would say depression maybe the most, since that has been the thing that's really gotten into my head the most. So it's written from inside there to like mirror these kind of feelings that you have in this kind of situation. But these are really hard feelings to describe with music. I mean, you can play fast notes and stuff like that, but then to try to make it into a story, it gets really strange, because you can just go in whatever direction whenever, and it's a bit of that here. But then I tried to put it into a more an easier story to understand. So I did this like a makeup layer of this cosmic adventure that in some way also symbolizes these kind of feelings, but it gives a more linear story and easier to follow. And then after a while, these two layers started to mix into each other and influence each other. And of course, there are several other layers also in individual songs and the parts between the songs, and sometimes they start in the middle of one song and go out into the next one. So there, right. but those are the two like biggest things for this record. One that's totally emotional, and then one that is like on a story level. And on the story level, that's where you get all these pictures come in, where you really should listen to the music and read the lyrics and look at the pictures at the same time.
Yeah, I was looking at the booklet here. Is there going to be lyrics in the booklet? Because in the booklet that I'm looking at now,
there is a lyric sheet, but I wanted to have them in two separate, because I think that the booklet is more like a separate thing. It has these pictures with the small picture text on them. It gives a little bit more understanding. So I wanted to have it like in certain parts, because that's for me that gave me the right puzzle.
Right. Yeah. No, I really like the artwork. I mean, there's a lot, like you said, with the cosmic type stuff. You got the UFOs and spaceships, and then a little astronaut guy here, and you know, I couldn't think of that yet. Actually, do you know the band Dead Cosmonaut?
No.
Because they're from your area as well.
Okay.
From Sweden. Yeah. Give them a look. Actually, they're very similar to Lake of Tears a little bit.
Oh, I didn't know. Dead Cosmonaut. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
And actually, when I'm looking at the artwork too, and I notice maybe it's the last. It looks like this is the last page. You got like a little wizard guy on like a pedestal thing, and then you got some color. Finally, you have some color in the booklet. What's that about?
Well, you can actually read it in the lyrics for that song. Also, there are some colors returning, and that's one part of why this record took such a long time, because there is a story in here, and I couldn't really finish up the record before the story came to a certain point. And I think this point, it's not about happiness, but it's a bit about understanding and accepting, I think, more for me. And so you can hear, there is some hope coming up in the last song here. And that's, I also think for me, this idea of putting some colors in there, it just gave me the right mood, because you have to go through all this black and white stuff, and then somewhere there is some hope.
Yeah. So do you think maybe on the next album you're going to have some more colorful type stuff and get out of this darkness?
I hope if there will be a next, I'm sure there will be a next record of some sort, but I don't know for Lake of Tears yet. But I really do hope that my next step in my life now is to fill it with a bit of hope in the music also. I'm not sure I'm know how to do that, but I will try. I think. I hope so.
Now, you just worried me there. Is there not going to be maybe a new next album?
I don't know. I don't really want to think about it, because I just want to relax a bit from this long process now, and process all the things that have happened with the band. You know, with the members, I'm here alone now and everything. But for sure, I'm already started to write some material. I just don't know where it will end up. I will never give up on music. It's like I guess you've heard millions of musicians, or thousands of musicians say that it's like the blood running through your veins. It's totally necessary to write music.
Yeah, I'm a musician too. I play drums, and when my band broke up, I took like 6 years off. I'm like, I'm tired of doing it, because the people I was with, it was just turning into a different thing that I didn't want to do it anymore. And then I tried playing with other people, and it just wasn't the same, and I just had to give it up for a while. But then I got back into it, and it's something that you miss doing.
Yeah, I can totally feel you there, because that was a similar thing that happened to me. It was a really big hole at first, because I didn't really know what I should do by myself. But I must say that this is also some kind of healing process, to find a new way in life, to do things independent of those persons or those people. I don't think you can be totally independent of anybody, but you can do stuff with new people, perhaps, that give you a better thing for this period, or for this record, or whatever. But I'm really happy to have found some kind of way through all this. As you say, one day it comes back, maybe.
Yeah.
You find someone that you click with again, or something like that.
Yeah, I did. I finally did. Yeah, actually, a guy I knew for quite a while. Just we finally we were doing bands together, and just the other people we were working with just weren't. They weren't into the music, just like with your band. You've had people not into it and just leaving, or not contributing to their, whatever they play, whatever, and it's just like. It depresses you in a way, because you want to continue with music, and then they're stopping you from doing that, Yeah. So,
but that's the thing that one has to learn with all of humanity, that people are not there for your sake. Right. I mean, sometimes you can find that your reason and this person's reason, that they get together, at least for a while in life. But I mean. It would be like, as some people tell me, that women are, in a relationship, they try to change the man. I think it can be the other way around also, of course. But
yeah, of course, yeah. Those women, can't live with them, can't live without them, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Now, on the new album, when I was reading the promo, it says that to listen to this album in the whole, like all at one time, and not listen to it for a single or whatever, even though you did release a single. Yes. Was that the mindset of when you were recording this album, that you were going to make this like one? You got to listen to it all in one piece, or it just happened as you were going?
I wanted it to be a story album, or one piece album, because that's some of the albums that I like the most. Are like that. That's what I like, to have albums, and that's probably a thing of a product of our time, that we listened to albums before, and today you listen to more songs, like song per song. So that's, I wanted it to be like an album, but of course I think it grew during the time also. And now I think it's really a necessity to hear the whole record, because when I think of the songs, I mean, they are not so bad that you would like that I would like say, ooh, what is that? But they really need each other. There is some kind of comforting warmth in there, where the songs really, they feel more comfortable in the context of the whole, I think. And for the singles, I really didn't want to release any singles for this one, because I knew from the beginning that it will be judged as all other music, popular music is judged today in a magazine next to the other bands that are, most of them writing this kind of music that are intended to be like song per song music, and that you have certain rules to follow then. So I already knew I had my, but actually people have been kind of nice. More nice than I was expecting, actually, with just 2 songs. But you really should have the whole experience. At least that's how I see it. And but I think everybody is free from themselves to judge it. Of course, some people I know that are very good musicians never read the lyrics, for example. So everybody has their own way of reasoning with the record.
Yeah. I like it. I think it's one of your best albums, honestly, you know, and I do like how you should listen to it from the beginning to end, because it's, when you don't listen to albums from beginning to end, you kind of you're only listening to stuff for a single, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and
I know.
That's like what, you know, with the streaming, with the Spotify and all that stuff. You're only listening to one song or 2 songs off of an album, and it kind of diminishes the meaning of, you know, the artwork that you released and just music in general, you know?
Yeah, in some way it is like that, but at the same time, that's why I think it's so awkward, because almost with every band you can see that they release a new record like every year, every other year, or every third year, the most, and that somehow almost automatically means that you cannot put that much time and effort into all of the songs.
Right.
I mean, for some people get like a whole cosmos in a single second as an idea into your mind. You can do something of it, but I think for most people, you have to work with stuff, and we have come to this kind of formula today that band releases record because you have to have that, because you have to get your name up on the lists or whatever. I mean, be in the media, and then of course then you get these 2 or 3 songs that even sometimes that are written by songwriters or song producers, not even by the band themselves. So it has become this strange norm in the business today, and I think a lot of people, not only me, think that this is not good for them. I don't say it's bad for everybody, but not for them, and I really wanted to try to be. It's so easy to talk, but it's much harder to do. And now for me, since I had this whole decade of darkness or whatever, I really had the time to think about such things and actually do it like that. I remember the first years I may have had some thoughts that, I have to put a record out. It's been like these years, but after a while that just started to go away, and then I thought, why should I hurry up with this last part now? It doesn't really matter if a record comes out today or next month or next year. Right. So that was, I think it would do good for the music business if more musicians or songwriters tried to think in this aspect.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I think so too, because even I notice it myself. You know, obviously you see the stuff. I do collect music, and you know, I like to listen to the albums and stuff, and it's hard now, because now, I mean, even though I do still collect, but now I have to have my Spotify, and not Spotify. I use Amazon Music, and because my car does not have a CD player in it, so now I'm forced to have that stupid thing, and then I don't get the I don't get to listen to an album all the way through. I mean, obviously I listened to yours all the way through because, you know, I was doing an interview with you, but I also love the band as well. And I have to get to know the album, obviously. But it doesn't happen all the time. It's like even like when I go to listen to older albums, I'm only picking and choosing which songs. Not like back in the day when I first heard them, I would listen to them all the way through. But now everything's just turned into the hit single, and it's it's.
I mean, it's very hard to break this kind of process, but I can really feel you there also. I remember the old times when you bought an album and you knew all the musicians by name and how they looked and you knew all the songs by name, and that's today I don't even remember my own songs almost. No, of course I do, but the titles. I mean, there are a lot of records today where I have forgotten many titles, and that wouldn't happen like 25 years ago.
Right. 30. Yeah. But also too, did you listen to less music back then?
Less music? I don't know.
Like less bands, like because like I'm over like 500 bands probably I listen to now. I don't even remember.
Yeah, I think it was less because because when the genres were new, like when thrash metal came and death metal came, it almost feels today when I look back upon it that I could count the bands on my two hands, or at least count to 30, and that would be enough. I think that's totally different today. Yeah,
yeah, of course, yes. But getting back to Ominus, I mean, it's an awesome album. I'm trying to find it on my phone here, and of course they list all the way they list the name of the album and the songs. I can't even read the songs on here, but I mean every song is great. It's like, again, like I said, you got to listen to this whole thing. Like you even want people to do is listen to it and listen to the whole album, all 9 songs. I mean, there's not one boring song, not one bad song on here. Everything fits in together. Would you consider this a concept album?
Yeah, it's a concept of sorts, but I wouldn't. I never really liked the word concept, but of course it's in this definition. I think it's a story album for me. It's a story, and actually, you only have to listen to the 8 songs. I think you should listen to the 8 songs and then take a little break, or maybe listen to the 8 songs again before you listen to the bonus track.
Do you have a favorite, even though you should listen to this all as one? Is there a favorite song off of this for you, or one that you really enjoyed writing and working on?
I don't know. In Gloom, the bonus track is one of my favorites, I guess. I think they all were favorites in different parts. I think it would be easier to name those few that are not my favorites, but I won't name them.
Come on, which ones?
I like them all. There are some small things that I would like to change now afterwards, but they are so small, so I don't think a regular listener would notice them.
Yeah. And actually, speaking of that, is there a song that you have written over the years that you just don't like anymore?
Oh, I think there are at least 1 or 2 on almost every record that has been, as I said, I think I mentioned before, I'm quite a slow songwriter. So the usual process when we went into the studio was almost always that 1 or maybe 2 songs weren't really done musically, and then the lyrics were missing for like 3 or 4 songs. And I think some of those last moments trying to put pieces together just hasn't done it for me, at least not now afterwards when I look back upon it, because it doesn't feel like me. And then of course I must say there have been some phrases like dragons and stuff like that. I'm not too proud of that. I mean, I'm not ashamed of it. Everybody has to start somewhere, but it's not something that I would do today.
Yeah, that's cool. But anything else you want to let people know about Ominus?
I think I told about this 6 story and I just think that you should listen to it from the beginning to end, because that's is to give it the chance it deserves. I think that's the most important thing, and I don't want to talk too much about the meaning for me, because I think the most important thing for me is that people find their own meaning. I mean, that has been some kind of my reward for writing music, is to get the words of people that have connected with I think that's one of the biggest inspirations there is, actually.
Yeah, very cool. And when is it released, do you know? It's February, right?
February 19th, so it's about 2 weeks to go.
Just around the corner.
Yeah.
One last thing. I was listening to this today just to get a little refresher on it. And the song Making Evenings.
Yeah.
Dark Park Balloon.
Dark
What
Park
does
Moon.
that mean?
Yeah. I don't think that's so much meaning in that phrase. It's more like it's a very good. It goes very well into your mouth when you the words dark park moon balloon. Of course, there is some kind of vision in there also, going to a dark park with a moon as a balloon in your mind. It's but it's more a play with words, just that phrase.
Yeah. All right. Very cool. I was after hearing that song and then just reminding me today, I was like, I gotta ask what that meant. Very cool. Well, I appreciate you doing some interviews. You haven't done really many interviews, have you, throughout the career of the band?
Yeah, I have done quite a lot, I must say. But of course now
I tried looking up the other day and I couldn't find any, so I found maybe one.
I started back in the 90s, so many of them are probably not even on the internet.
That's true.
No, but of course we have done a lot of interviews during so many years, but not for a long time now. When I was really skeptical to starting to do interviews again, because I find time is getting shorter, of course, and I like to spend my time on the things and the conversations that I find meaningful. And I think, like this one, it was quite interesting. I mean, a lot of interviews I get, they just talk about normal stuff. You can almost feel that they read from a paper, and I don't really feel that I have done that hundreds of times, and for me that's not so interesting anymore.
Right.
But perhaps some people out there are interested in hearing some of my words at least. So.
Yeah, I definitely think so. That's why I was very excited to see that you were doing interviews. And I don't write any questions down, as you can tell. Everything is just off the top of my head. Make it more of a conversation than just a list of questions, which is kind of boring.
I mean that's the thing I really enjoy in life, to have a conversation about. Almost on a philosophical level, like who am I in this world, and to be able to discuss things on this level, that's I think it's important, and it's very hard to find people who are on this level.
Yeah, I think so too. And one more last question: how has the band done in the U.S.? Like, is it very well known at all? I mean, like, how does it do?
A little known, but the US has never been our strongest market, if you put it like that. But I must say, I think for this one, I've gotten some really good response from the US so far. So maybe something more will happen.
I hope so, because you guys been around a long time, and I just feel like so many more people need to know about you and your music. So hopefully, this album will bring you out to the US a little bit more.
We'll see.
I hope so. And do you plan on doing any tours? I know everything's probably shut down still or whatever, but any ideas for tours or anything?
No, not really. But I can say so far that I really thought I won't do any more live shows. But I must say I've gotten some kind of idea for some kind of context that I think could be made. More mixture of a theater and music, perhaps. I haven't really gotten so far yet, but there are some small parts in here that actually can find a meaning with doing that kind of stuff, and let's see if they grow.
Yeah, all right, cool, very cool. All right, now where can people find you? You got a Facebook page, right?
Yeah, Facebook page. I think that's almost everything that I managed today. And I have a YouTube channel, but there's only one song there. But Facebook is the place to be, I think.
Okay. Is it facebook.com/Lake of Tears, or is it?
Yeah,
you know what it is?
The Lake of Tears. I think it is. But I think if you write Lake of Tears, you will eventually come to that page anyway.
All right, very cool. Well, again, thank you very much for coming on, and I hope Ominus does really good, and everybody should please go out and listen to it. Go on, it'll be on Spotify, right? And all the typical, what do you call it? Streaming services or whatever it's called. Yeah. But go find it. Go buy the physical release. Do you buy physical releases? I'm trying to end this thing, but I keep thinking of more things to talk about.
For me, I have time. I'm not buying so much physical releases anymore, actually. No, some LPs, some vinyls, but not so much. CDs, I don't think I bought a CD for I don't know how many years.
Really? I bought a whole stack the other day.
Yeah, I can see you have a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, this was just from like a month ago. And this is only half of it.
Oh, but do you listen to it all?
Yeah. Actually, what I'm doing now on my show, because I do this show with a couple of the other guys, and I bought all these CDs, and I'm like, you know what? I don't know how I'm going to listen to all these, but here's a good idea. Let's pick out the ones that you guys want to review, and we'll talk about them on the show. So this way, it gives me more of a reason to listen to them.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm lucky at my job. I can listen to music at my job, so I listen to it all the time. So I get to it eventually.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. Again, thank you very much for coming on the show. Please check out Lake of Tears and the new album Ominus. You're going to love it. And go listen to all the other albums. I mean, they're an awesome band. And please go check out ratsatreview.com. Please buy a t-shirt. Help me out. I got to pay for the website and our Spotify and streaming stuff. So, and subscribe, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, all that stuff. And we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Cool. Bye.
What?